All right, welcome everybody to the Administrative Services Committee meeting. We're starting just a few minutes late, but I'm sure we'll be able to get this through before 10 o'clock tonight, so stay with us. First item is approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We got a motion, we got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That brings us to the privilege of the floor. Is there anyone here today that would like to speak to us about anything on our agenda?
Thank you.
Oh, you gotta come down.
Aye.
Tom Nelson, 21 Hunter Street, Jamestown, legislator for District 13. And I'm here to speak about Resolution 17-26, which I strongly oppose. This was the resolution that would amend the rules and regulations for the county legislature. First, I think that it unnecessarily restricts free speech. While public comment is not unlimited, courts have consistently held that when a government body opens a public forum, it cannot impose restrictions that are broader than necessary. This amendment narrows speech by limiting comments to matters of the legislature that the legislature deems within its authority, which invites content-based and viewpoint-based exclusions. Residents should not have to be legal experts in the state law or the county charter to speak at their legislature. Secondly, there's vague language that I think invites arbitrary enforcement. Terms like relevant to the powers and duties and or responsibilities of the county legislature are subjective and open to interpretation. The vagueness gives the presiding officer broad discretion to cut off speakers, potentially based on disagreement rather than relevance. Third, public comment is one of the few direct avenues residents have to speak to their elected officials. Narrowing the scope and increasing enforcement discretion will discourage participation, particularly among residents who are already feeling marginalized or unheard. A legislature should be encouraging, civic engagement, not erecting procedural barriers. Fourth, there's no evidence that has been presented that public comment has disrupted legislative operations or prevented the legislature from conducting business. Without a clear problem to solve, this rule change appears unnecessarily punitive, raising the concern that it's aimed at silencing uncomfortable or critical speech rather than improving efficiency. Number 5, content-based restrictions on speech in a limited public forum face heightened scrutiny under the First Amendment. This amendment increases the county's exposure to legal challenges while simultaneously undermining public trust by signaling that criticism is unwelcome. And finally, public comment is not meant to be convenient or comfortable. It exists precisely so residents can raise issues that may be unpopular, broad, or critical. Limiting speech to what the legislature already believes is within its authority reverses the purpose of public comment, turning it from a democratic safeguard into a managed formality. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak? The privilege of the floor. Come on down.
Good evening, Vince DeJoy, 98 Forest Avenue, Jamestown, County Legislative District Representative for District 9. I too am here to speak on the same amendment of the rules as Legislator Nelson just commented on, and it's my firm belief that this legislature should think long and hard before restricting open and free speech. I think it upholds core democratic principles by allowing the public to speak, because local government exists to serve the people, not just to conduct procedural business. Allowing open comments affirms that every resident has a voice, not only to those who fit neatly within agenda categories. And democracy is strongest when government listens. And as Legislator Nelson mentioned, even to uncomfortable or unconventional perspectives. It builds public trust and transparency. Restricting speech can create the perception that officials only want to hear supportive or convenient viewpoints. Open privilege of the floor signals that the legislature is confident, transparent, and accountable to the people. Trust in government grows when citizens feel that they are generally heard rather than managed. So again, I am opposed to restricting it, other than, if the comments are made that are inappropriate, but just perhaps they may not be relevant, but they should still be heard. And I just appreciate you taking the time to listen to my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak to us?
Karen Engstrom, Town of Chautauqua, and I'm speaking for the Chautauqua Energy Watch. And to let you know why we come, Chautauqua Energy Watch tries to provide as much information as we can to this body. There is a lot of information that you would not otherwise see, so we spend as much time as we can researching. We offer 2 studies today that are by local experts on energy. One is by Don Rice from Ripley, who worked with Boeing on the problems of battery energy storage systems on aircraft. The other is Christine Martin, who's got a well-known energy blog. Only Mr. Scudder has the actual printed copies. The others will be emailed to you, and they're very recently issued. So we know, as you know very well, that we have many concerns about battery energy storage systems that are being put forward as proposals throughout our county. That's not just citizens, it's also trustees. And we've been going to a number of town board meetings, and all of those trustees, as so far as we can tell, are concerned about protecting their communities from these many proposals. And so what we're seeing around the state is that there are laws written by counties, by metropolitan centers, and by townships that do address this issue. Included in those laws are such requirements that I listed here: the requirement that no PFAS or PFOS, forever chemicals, be in the components of battery energy storage system. This is just a very positive, responsible environmental thing to require. The town of Chautauqua does that. Number 2 is to require that all the components in these renewables be recycled, because they are made of very valuable parts and they should not be wasted by relegating them to toxic waste dumps. Niagara County has that solar law, and that is a template for battery energy storage and wind. If the Niagara County solar law were used to address the problems we're having with wind and battery energy storage, it's a template. It can be done. Number 3, require that all components be manufactured in the United States. Because of the quality issues that we see coming from China, the fact that they do contain PFOS and PFAS, if it's a solar or if it's a wind and it comes from there, it contains PFOS. And for security reasons, we don't want all of our components coming from a country that may no longer be ready or willing to provide the components that we need. So we see a number of issues regarding the safety of battery energy storage system. They're highly flammable, they release toxic gas, they contaminate water, they're very costly, and they're very short-lived, and they also only hold energy for 2 to 4 hours, plus they lose 30% of whatever energy they collect. 30% is lost by battery energy storage systems. So we know Wall Street wants these, but our communities do not. And we hope you'll take some of these examples to heart and be able to use them. I will send them to you in emails. It's certainly not necessary to have battery storage if we use reliable, affordable, and dispatchable energy, which we already have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? In your email, though I know it's a long agenda, so.
Thanks, Karen. Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Mike D. I'm from Silver Creek. This is totally extemporaneous, and I can't even spell that word. First commentary on to pick up on where Karen was on BESS and wind and solar. This is an economic disaster that's going to destroy our state economy. I don't need to speak long on this. Just look at what it's done to England and Germany, the two world leaders in these technologies. They are emptying out their countries, deindustrializing, and destroying themselves. I believe the best thing the county can do is resist in any way that we can. Okay? There's the health issues, but there's also the economic disaster issues. Show me all of our employment for all that we've done out there. Show me all employment we have because of wind and solar and BESS. All right? I can show you a lot of companies that don't want to come here because of the price of electricity. Mine's just doubled. Most people's has. All right? If you allow this to happen, then you're just going to destroy the state, and people are going to keep going to Tennessee and to Kentucky and wherever they're going. All right? Now, with regard to the first issue, which was speaking on topics, well, I could go off right now on what New York State's doing, I could go off on what's happening in New York City. I disagree with Mamdani 100%. I could go off on 100 topics and talk all my time about those topics, and you can't do anything about it as a legislature. So where is the line drawn when we say, well, it has to be appropriate? How do you draw the line that's appropriate on this? Somewhere you have to, because you can't let somebody come down here like me and talk for 5 minutes about how much I dislike Mamdani, okay? Otherwise, we'll do that. There's a reason the legislature wanted that. Now, I'm pretty libertarian and I want free speech. I'm 100% for free speech. I'm 100% also against wasting the legislature's time. So I won't waste your time speaking about those subjects. But I do implore you, do everything you can to stop this net zero thing. Net zero is impossible. It can't be done. We're going to destroy ourselves, and there's no excuse for anybody in here to not understand that. And if you can contact me directly, and I will spend hours discussing it with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, we will close the privilege of the floor. All right, first item, local law intro 126. We all have a copy, a local law amending the Chautauqua County Charter. This has been talked about in committee, and it's been talked about on the floor. Anybody have any comments they want to make on it? None? All right, we'll move on to the second item, local law intro 226. A local law providing for a management salary plan for county officers and employees.
Good evening.
Howdy.
Debbie sorry.
Thank you.
There we go. Debbie Mikowski, Director of Human Resources. And of course, I just get signed Okay. So, realizing that we do have a lengthy agenda today, I would like to, if it's okay, stick to my script, so then I don't ramble.
Sure.
So, the proposed local law before you, it is a request to change assigned salary ranges for the county's management group. Just to clarify, this group includes all of the county's leaders, our coordinators, supervisors, managers, deputy directors, directors, and officers. I will probably repeat this, but to state it early in the discussion, this proposal does not provide a change to any employee's salary. We're talking about salary ranges. So some data. This group currently has 128 employees, and as of mid-2025, I realized that some of the employees were getting dangerously close to the max of their currently assigned salary range. As of January 1st, 2026, 34 employees had less than 10% until they reached their max, or roughly 26%. 11 employees had less than 3% to their max, or roughly 8%. This means that of those 11 people in this group did not even receive a 3% increase as of January 1st, 2026. Some were even less than 1%. So to proactively answer the question, why didn't we propose changes in 2025? So out of respect for the legislators' election process in 2025, and for our incoming elected legislators, I didn't want to negate their vote on such a big topic. So a little more data to proactively answer the question, what if we take no action? So basically for January 2027, the numbers will increase to 47 employees will have less than 10% to their max range, or 37% of this group, and 25 employees will have less than 3% of their max, or 20% of this group. And keep in mind, those 11 employees as of 2026 who didn't even get 3% would get nothing for 2027. They would have 0% until the max of their range. And again, changing a salary range assignment does not equal a salary increase for any employee. Department heads would still need to work within their budget, a budget that is approved by this legislative body, and the department head would need to provide an explanation if they operate outside of their approved budget. This proposal does not remove legislative oversight and or control over each departmental budget. If this is approved, this local law would change salary ranges for most titles. There are 3 that are not changing for a variety of reasons. But the average change is by 3 ranges. Several reasons for this proposal. And I'll kind of go through these pretty quickly because there's 5 of them. But obviously this protects the institutional knowledge and continuation of operations, reduces the risk of replacement costs, reduces the likelihood of someone looking externally for compensation growth. It supports stable and predictable budgeting. We know who's in what position. We can budget appropriately over the next 2, 3, 4 years for what we would like to see those annual increases to be. 2, it aligns compensation range with growing impact. So think of it this way. A high performer often increases their skills and responsibility faster than what we had originally intended their role to be. This change would reflect the increased value without forcing us to change someone's title, and it rewards expanded responsibility and excellence. 3, it maintains motivation and performance. Imagine if you were one of those 11 this year who couldn't even have a 3% increase applied for January 1st, 2026. Promotes pay equity and fairness, helps to address market shifts that outpace older compensation structures, helps to address internal equity issues for tenured or those high impacted employees, and helps to address situations where new hires are approaching or exceeding existing employees' pay. And then 5, sends a strong signal of value and trust to the team that are leading our county operations. It conveys that the county sees long-term potential in our leaders, that contributions are expected to continue to grow, and that this group is viewed as the key part of the future success. So just to summarize, changing a salary range assignment, again, does not equal a salary increase. This proposal does not provide a salary increase to any employee, so there is no budget impact. And reassigning the salary ranges for this group provides a fiscally responsible mechanism to retain experienced leaders, preserve the institutional knowledge, and maintain compensation alignment while keeping full legislative oversight over the actual salary decisions. Any questions?
That was a good summary.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Just say it's a lot. Anybody, question?
Is this going to open up a bunch of resolutions to now, after we approve this, go through and increase people's salaries then?
No.
And
That would be up to each department head.
Department head?
Yes.
When was the last time these ranges had been updated?
December of 2022.
Okay.
And that was actually from a market survey that was done, I want to say, in early 2021. And even going back to when I requested this overall reassignment back in December 2022, my comment back then was, my goal would be to review this every 3-4 years to make sure that we're staying competitive.
So then, on average, what percentage increase are these ranges over current ranges? Is there an average or not? I know that's a difficult question.
I can get that for you.
You know what I'm saying? Are these
Yes.
3% higher than are now? You know, generally speaking, but
Right.
I realize every number is going to be different, but.
But again, keeping in mind that even though we're changing the salary range that an employee is assigned to, it does not give them an automatic salary increase.
Yep. No, I get that.
Okay.
Sure.
But I get what you're
I'm
asking.
just
Yep.
curious if they were,
are there any vacancies in these positions that are listed on this
Yes,
currently?
yes, some of the titles listed are vacant positions right now. And in order to keep them moving with
Right.
the same group or category of titles,
We gotta put it on there.
Yeah.
You may have answered this, so here we go. So these individuals that are listed here, are they under contract where it's required to get a 3% raise every
No.
year?
No,
Their contract is just the wage that's set. They're not like every year guaranteed a 3% increase.
correct. There is no contract with
Okay.
this group of employees.
Okay.
Correct.
No collective bargaining agreements.
Correct.
That's what I was looking for.
Correct.
So would it be the department heads that would be in charge of calculating increases in salary once the new ranges are set?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Who sponsored it? Oh, that wasn't a negative. That was just-
Someone who graciously agreed to bring it to the floor to
Yes.
discuss the topic.
Yeah, just having fun there, everybody.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
No, I mean, I think it's very important, obviously, that we continue to be competitive in order to keep, recruitment at the front end of what we're trying to do here, to keep, obviously, these very important roles filled with the correct people, but are we prepared budget-wise to amend? Maybe that's not a question for you, being in HR and not in the budget department, but are we prepared as budgetary purposes to go and amend these after we approve this? I mean, it's going to happen one way or another. If there's a certain amount of them that are within a certain threshold to be bumped into a new range. I guess if that's how I understood that.
But every current salary would remain the same.
Right. No, I know it's gonna stay
Even-
the same.
Right.
But I'm
even in-
foreseeing
even in
department
lieu-
heads will end up
Correct.
coming and asking us once this gets approved. But, we don't wanna look like those guys who can't follow through with it once we've done it. Great, we've got a plan, but if we can't enforce that plan, I guess is, are we capable of doing that is my question.
And I think that would be a question for each department head.
Okay.
Again, not.
When that
I'm-
time
I am-
comes,
I am
yeah.
only running a department of
Right.
one. I can't answer what other departments'
No, that's fine.
budget line looks like. If they have wiggle room, if they can, offer, even for the 11 people who didn't even get 3%. I mean, if that's one of my employees, that would be if this is approved, that would be one of the things that I would look
Yeah.
at to at least effective, if this is approved, once it's effective, that's the first thing I would look at.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be clueless not to.
But,
I mean,
but again, working within my
Right, you've got to
budget.
make sure it
Right.
works within your budget. I mean,
Right.
that's the most important thing to me, obviously, is I want to make sure people are taken care of, but I don't want to get people's hopes up going, oh, they did it. And now we're going to sit here for, at least another budget season to see a raise.
Right.
Because it's obviously still people's livings that we're
Right.
dealing with, and that's an important thing. But I'm good with it.
All right, very good. With that, we can move on to item number, put my glasses on. Item number 3, local law intro 326, a local law providing for a management salary plan for county officers and employees, Director of Real Property Tax Services 3, and Director of Human Resources. Is that a 3?
That is a 3.
3, thank you.
Yes. So, same premise as the previous local law proposal, but due to, and I have to reference Steve Abdallah here, municipal home rule law that carves out any title that is currently filled and on an appointed fixed term where, I'm gonna stop there. Because of the filled position and it being appointed for a fixed term, the titles are required to have a 45-day permissive referendum period. So, not to hold up the first group of all of those titles, historically, we have carved out the fixed term titles so that they are the only ones that are held in the 45-day waiting period.
Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Who sponsored that one?
All it takes is a phone call, and I sponsor it. Okay,
Okay?
thank you very much, Deb.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 4, tabled resolution adopting county real property tax and special district charge exemptions for primary residents of certain veterans with service-related 100% disability. And this was tabled at the January 26 Administrative Services Committee meeting.
Pierre Chagnon, Chairman of the Legislature. The committee, you may remember last month at the committee meeting, we tabled this resolution because the state was pursuing an amendment to the law that would make this potential resolution impossible. So they did proceed, and Senate Bill S 8803 was signed by the governor last Friday, and that bill removes the county option for doing this. It's no longer an option for the county to adopt this exemption, and it imposes the exemption statewide by the state effective October of this year. So we can no longer adopt this proposed resolution. So my recommendation to the committee is that you continue to leave it on the table, which means that after tonight, it will be dead.
Do we have to retable it, or we just?
Nope, just take no action. It's on the table, just take no action.
Perfect. That'll be easy. Any questions for Pierre? Thank you. We will put that on the pile. Which pile am I using? All right, Next up is resolution number 1726, amend rules and regulations of the Chautauqua County Legislature. This was referred back to our committee at the January legislative meeting.
And again, it's my pleasure to speak to this proposed resolution. After the comments that were received at the legislature meeting and the legislature moving to send this back to committee, we received some interesting suggestions at the legislature meeting, and I had some communication with some individuals that had some other interesting suggestions as to how to improve this resolution. We also did some research as to what other counties in New York State do, thinking that that might provide a pattern. Unfortunately, as is typical in New York State, everyone pretty much does their own thing. It's a patchwork quilt. Some allow public comment, some don't. Some limit the amount of comment, some restrict the amount of comment. So stepping back from this, the legislator who proposed this resolution and who drafted the resolution didn't speak to it at the legislature meeting last month and has not come here tonight to speak to it and has not spoken to me about it. Talking to other people, I get the impression that enough comments and concerns have been raised regarding freedom of speech and about erecting barriers or impediments, that my recommendation to the committee this evening is that you postpone this resolution indefinitely. If you postpone it indefinitely, that will serve to kill the resolution. That is my recommendation to you.
Okay, thank
Do
you.
want to make a motion to postpone this indefinitely?
Well, before we do that, any comments? Seeing none, I have a comment on it. At the last meeting, legislative meeting, I voted in favor of sending it back to committee. And my reasoning for that was, my only concern is I will sit here till midnight and listen to people complain, and not complain, share, that didn't sound right, but we do get a little bit of complaining. And I just get concerned that they don't realize and don't hear what I'm not saying here, but sometimes I don't feel we're the body that should be addressed with the concerns that they have. I know they can address us and we can all go home and write letters to the president and to senators and to congressmen but so can they, and it would probably be more effective if the individual did it. But with that being said, so that's my concern, that they come here. I've been here long enough that I've had people I know speak, they thought they were speaking to the state legislature, and they weren't. I don't have to tell you that. We're the county legislature. So I just get concerned that they feel they're talking to the body they should be addressing, and they're really not. Again, with that being said, I'll sit here all night. I signed up for the job, and I'm not saying anybody else feels different than this. This is just how I feel. So I am all in favor of Pierre's recommendation, and if it was going to come to a vote, I was just gonna vote no, but we can do the postpone. I like that idea. So
Indefinitely.
we need a motion to postpone this indefinitely.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
We have a
second
motion.
that.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Number 6, resolution number 1826, Affordability Act of 2026. This was referred to Administrative Services, and it will be going to Audit and Control at the January legislative meeting. Do we have anyone here to speak to this? Okay, no one is here to speak to it, so we can speak about it. Anybody have any questions or comments?
I think it's very mature to have the conversation regarding the 2027 budget. As we discussed in the previous committee meeting, and most likely much more in audit control on Thursday morning, we are still closing out the books of 2025 to see where we fall in using fund balance funds. And we still have an existing amount of time on the sales tax. I struggle to look at the possibilities of decreasing a revenue source to then look at taking away from our fund balance, which looks directly towards raising taxes in the future. But at this time, I think it's a very premature decision to say what we're gonna do for 2026, at least, especially as we watch to see what the state legislature is gonna do after the governor proposed her budget. They still need to go through and pick that apart and decide what they need to do, and not only to wait and see what the federal government decides to follow through on.
Yeah, I have a few questions on it. Kitty's been nice enough to answer any questions that we might have that she can answer. So I do have a couple. One I think you can answer, and the other one, I'm gonna throw it out there, and I don't think you'll have an answer to it, not guessing. So I guess my question is, can you tell us what the impact would be to the county as far as actual dollars if we lowered sales tax by 0.25%? Sure.
Figured it would be a question. I tried to be prepared.
Thank you, Kitty.
Appreciate that.
You're always so well prepared.
I tried. A couple extras if anyone else needs one. You guys want one?
Do you have any in color?
Yeah, I'll have the same handouts. Okay, so just based on the sales tax in the 2020, what was included in the 2026 budget, if we are going to reduce that to 7 3/4, I would take our adopted budget amount, the 98 million includes the municipal share as well as the county share, and take 7 3/4 of that amount. So the total lost revenue would be $3,077,000. That breaks down to the county share of 1.8 million, and then the municipal share of 1,269,000. So the municipalities would lose that amount of sales tax. The second page there shows you by municipality how much sales tax would be lost in the far column on the right. I just would also like to point out, so I know the resolution mentioned potentially sharing more of the sales tax to municipalities. So the county, really, as far as the impact to the county budget, it would be at a minimum $3 million hit to sales tax, because just to make the municipalities whole, we would have to absorb the share that they're gonna lose. And then without knowing how much more is proposed to be shared, the minimum impact to the county budget would be a loss of $3,077,000 in revenue.
Right. So the question that I didn't mean to say you wouldn't be able to answer it, because Kitty, you're very good at answering. I had written down, what's the plan going forward to share more with the cities, towns, and villages? It's not specified here.
Yes, I don't know the answer.
See?
I don't know the intent.
I got that
with
one.
that question.
So basically, what we're doing here is we're looking to lower the sales tax, so we're gonna decrease what the municipalities will get, and then we're gonna increase what the municipalities will get once we've taken their share away.
Yeah, I
According
mean,
to
at a
what's written
minimum, if
here.
you did not want to have, you did not want to harm the municipalities, you'd at least have to share an additional, $1,269,000 just for them to be level funded, basically.
But this
So
states that
that-
they want more.
Well, yes, I mean, that in effect would be more because the ratio of what we share would have to result in them getting that $1,269,000 that they're losing.
Okay.
Their percentage would go up without us technically making it go up by giving them back what we've taken away from them.
I didn't calculate what the percentage that we share with them would need to go up by for them to be made whole.
Right, and that's what confuses me on here. We wanna lower.
I have the dollar amount, not the percentage share amount.
This is just my general comment. I don't feel
No,
I'm just a little confused by it. We're going to take it away to give it back.
I only presented
get
this
that.
to show what you would, just so that the municipalities would be held harmless. I assume that the intent is not to harm the municipalities by reducing the sales tax rate. I kind of was operating under the assumption that the goal would be to at least keep them whole, if we're gonna reduce the sales tax rate to 7.75.
And again, my questions to you, I'm not,
Yeah.
there's no negative. My questions are to you because there is no one here to give me these answers, and you were gracious enough to come down and
Yeah,
speak to us.
I can
And I
calculate.
appreciate these numbers, these make sense, and I just struggle with this whole concept here. I will make a comment. Well, the other thing is we're basing, this would all happen in 2027? Good.
It just depends on when legislation to change the sales tax rate would become effective.
Are we allowed to do that whenever we want to?
I don't know, that might be something
I know
that
we
the
renew
county
it like-
the county attorney would probably have to research that
Right.
aspect of the sales tax.
Well, with the assumption that it would be 2027, we're gonna make this decision in February of '26 without knowing what this upcoming year has in store for us. It seems a little premature, it seems not real well thought out. But the only positive, I shouldn't say that, the only positive I see in here is, there's talk of, I guess they're referring to the tax levy not going up, and I would be willing at budget time to possibly look at that, but first we gotta find out what the tax levy is, so I'm gonna vote against this tonight, because first of all, there's no one here to explain it, and second of all, it seems a little premature to make decisions on an upcoming year that we don't have any figures for yet. So that's my personal comment. Anybody else have anything to say?
I agree,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's vote on the resolution. All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Thank you, Kitty.
If there's any other scenarios you'd like me to calculate, please let me know.
Okay, appreciate that. All right. Next resolution, number 1826. Or no, we did that one. Next resolution, 1926, amend senior real property tax exemption. This was referred back to Administrative Services and Audit and Control Committees at the January legislative meeting. Is there anyone here to speak to this? Okay, seeing no one, we can talk amongst ourselves about it. Any comments, questions, concerns?
And I'd like to, kind of got into it a little bit in the ledge meeting and spoke on the motion to table this and was not the correct time. But we had increased this at one point, I think it was like 37%. And the idea, at least at that time when we voted on this, the way I understood it was to put the residents that fell out of line with Social Security increases back in play. And it was not to pick up a huge burden for the rest of the taxpayers when we had originally put it to a higher amount. We then came back a month later and lowered it back down to this $30,000, where we obviously agreed to do that. I also recall the last time we did this, it got brought forth in front of us from the property tax department, and at this time, I have not been informed of it being brought to us from the property tax department or of any issues, I guess, with the 30,000. I mean, I recall at the time that there was obviously discussion as to whether that was going to be a reasonable amount of an increase, but I am struggling to raise it another 30% without any background information or data or knowledge, and on top of, you know, what is this going to do to the overall levy to put on the rest of the county taxpayers. I'm all for, you know, supporting our senior citizens, but obviously everything comes with a cost, and it would be very immature of me to vote on something without being able to know that information.
Okay, thank you for that. Travis, you got anything?
I agree to that. You meant premature. You're immature on other things, Dalton, but premature was the word there. And yeah, I mean, but you did sum that up correctly. I just nodded in agreement that we just got to be careful when we create, buckets, because I am in favor of the spirit of this, but I feel like I'm missing part of the equation here.
Right. It's hard to vote on something like this without having the numbers. I had questions written down like, how many seniors will this add? What's the impact, again, to the county tax income? And here's one for you. Would we be better off raising it to $40,000? There seems to be no numbers to support that either way. I did speak to Kim.
Over here.
Sit on this side.
Other swivel.
Did you want to speak to this at all?
I would.
Okay.
Thanks. Kim Moline, Director, Real Property Tax. I do have figures. So the last time when we went through this 2 years ago, Heather, one of our local assessors, did provide you guys with a spreadsheet. However, it didn't have all the towns of the county, in the county, on it. So when I saw that this was coming up, I reached out to her. She was supposed to be here tonight, but she's not feeling well. So I have two handouts. One is from when we increased it from the 22,000 to the 30,000 2 years ago, and the other one is on the proposed 38,000. However, the figures that New York State gives us is for the maximum income that the aged exemption allows, which is $58,400. So I can't say yes all those numbers because we're not increasing it all the way to that. It's just to give you a ballpark idea of the impact that it would have if all the residents were to apply and that we're eligible for it. So I'm gonna pass these out real quick. Ask me to look. This one is the one from previously. Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Pierre, would you like a copy?
Please.
And you're always so well prepared, too.
Previous.
Thank you. That's if you raised it.
Would you guys like me tonight?
That would be the hit. So who's gonna make that? You ready?
Okay. Any questions?
So that estimated impact of aged exemption increase,
Is based on the 58,400, if that was the income amount.
right, and let's explain real quick, we know what it was at 30, the number, but there's no way to know, we know what it is at 30, and we would know what it would be at 58, but the state doesn't break it down.
The state does not break it down.
Last time we did this, I happened to be involved in it. I went to the Office for the Aging, and they had, I think it was every 5 year, they had like 50 to 55, 55 to
Yes.
60, 60 to 65, 60, and so on. So we were able to discuss this with the Office for the Aging, get our bullseye fine-tuned a little bit more. We talked to Heather, because she was either in charge of or in touch with a whole bunch of towns, which was nice, so we got her input. We checked with Albany, we got their input, and we put that all together and we found this, we bounced it off of the assessors, Office for the Aging, real property tax, and that's where we arrived with the number 30,000.
Right.
And I realize it's been 2 years, which isn't a whole real long time in government time, but we had some actual numbers, and we had a target. You remember, we were in on that. And I don't know, it's just, we were able to make sense of it by, what do they call it, finding some parameters or data or whatever, to just raise it. And I'm all in favor of anybody that's struggling. There isn't a person here that wants to see anybody struggling. But at the same time, if you look over to the far right, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, but, and I appreciate these
On the
numbers.
current sheet or the previous one?
The one we're talking, the estimated impact.
Okay,
So we go all the way to the far right, and it's 2,366,204. That would be the impact to the county at the 58,000, correct?
correct.
So my struggle, as much as I want to help the seniors, which I do, I'm a senior. My dad used to have an analogy, and you're just gonna have to bear with me because it's my committee and I'm in charge. So he used to speak all the time about a bucket, and the bucket was full of money. And you had to fill that bucket with money, and let's call that the Chautauqua County taxes. We have to fill that bucket with money. So when you take money out of that bucket, it has to be filled back up by another group or groups. So, again, I don't think anyone here is not in favor of helping anybody out in need, but when you take money out of that bucket, others have to put money back into that bucket. And is that a single mother who can't afford her mortgage payments, let alone her taxes? Is that a new couple looking at buying a house? There's so many different stories out there that I think we have to be careful about where we put this exemption, because the impact can be dramatic. And again, in a perfect world, we would be able to talk to each situation individually and adjust whatever we had to do for them. But I think just throwing out a number of
38,000.
is, it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. I get the intent, and it feels good to do that, but
Well,
we are a body that depends on numbers and budgeting, and I've never voted on something that I didn't have a real good grasp of what the impact was going to be.
I thought when we looked at this last time as well, the 58,000 was only able to be approved on a sliding scale basis. But then as well, the resolution says the state ceiling is $50,000, so the resolution is only proposing the highest we can go is 50,000. But
They do that because of the sliding scale, so that way if, I know like some towns, schools, they can do a sliding scale and do up to that.
yeah, are we able to go 58 though without a sliding scale?
No.
So why
You would have
are
to,
we?
because that's just what the state, that's just from the state. We can't pick and choose any dollar amount. The state has a report that says this number of people would qualify for the aged exemption at the 58,000.
But
That's
that-
just their figuring. They don't do it in any other increment.
But if our exception doesn't even go to 58, then this number is even more out of line for us, which
I would-
is-
I would look too, from the sheet that I gave you from when we did this the last time, for the number that qualified, and compare it to the number that qualifies now, because the number that qualified back then only had the income of 22,000. Currently, it's at the 30,000, and you can see that there's, some have some little bit of increases, but most of them, none of the towns did any, nobody,
What
like,
did-
applied.
What was Heather's thoughts when you talked to her about this?
Basically, like what we're all thinking, it's,
I know she was, I was at Poland's meeting the day that we originally proposed this to 58,000, and I thought my head was gonna fly across the room.
yeah.
Because she
Right.
was more concerned about the town's levy on the amount that we
And
were.
that's a good point, because a lot of the towns in the county have passed their local law, resolution, whatever it is, to follow whatever the county amount is. If our amount's at 58, their amount's gonna be at 58. What kind of impact is that gonna do to a
Right.
small town?
I know in the
It
past we've
affects
kinda
the
said
cities,
it's,
it affects the towns, it affects the schools. I don't believe the village has this exemption, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But each municipality can choose what amount they want or feel is good enough.
yeah,
And if they're, if they've already have this in place that they have to follow us, and we keep increasing and increasing, that's taking a big hit on them too. This is just showing county figures. This doesn't show what might happen to a town
Right.
that follows what our figures are. My other point is March 1st is in 2 weeks. And
Right.
residents can't apply after March 1st for an exemption, and if this is,
And
they're
that's a
not gonna
state-
have much.
State rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not gonna have much time to even apply for this year.
Right. Okay.
I'm gonna make a point, not necessarily related to this, but Terry Nebel had mentioned it the last time we discussed this comment. And I have talked about it among people. We constantly beat up this county and the population decrease and young people leaving this county. We've talked about helping senior citizens twice, which I've said I'm all for. But the young people are the ones that take on the burden of picking up this tab for the senior citizens to go to 50,000, 58,000, 30, and myself included as a young person who's a homeowner in Chautauqua County who is happy to live here and proud to do what I do and represent these towns and the county as a whole. You gotta look at yourself. We just went through a bunch of budget amendments that were $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 over in utility costs which I've watched my utility costs double in the
Right.
last month and two, and I know obviously many others have, and to put one more thing like this on there, and I get it, it still affects the older people, but at some point, we've got to take the thought of everybody over just the thought of just the 65 or just the certain demographic groups that we keep picking. And I don't have an issue with any of them by any means. But like Bob said, we're a group that looks at numbers, we're a group that looks at budgets, and we have to do what's best for everybody. And if we continue to make it livable for one generation and not the other, that's a path that I guess we all as a body have to decide. And I don't want to say that in a negative light, and I'm sure it's going to in about 3 weeks when this video's watched, but it's a real thing that we need to pay attention to as well. And I guess that's kind of where I look at it. I mean, of course, there's been lots of numbers looked at tonight, but if we're going to look at putting $2 million onto the levy to pick this up, at the same time looking at $2 million out of our fund balance while taking $285,000 in revenue from the city and putting, I mean,
There you go.
there's a lot
Puzzle
of
pieces.
unaffordable, unaccountable actions taken tonight that are being looked at.
And I wish I could help you more on where that number came from, but I wasn't talked to.
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
know anything
this is
about
not
it,
your fault
and-
by any means.
No, but I wish I could give you more, like, yeah,
Absolutely.
this, you know, we did go back to OFA and we did talk
I
and find
wish-
out what the
I wish you could
income-
too. And that's not on you. I think we're all struggling with voting on a number that we have no idea how that impacts. Now, I would entertain if we can come back with a number with some facts that support it or show us what the impact is, then I think this would be considered for sure. But without that, I struggle giving it a vote, a positive vote, so, yes. Good?
Good.
Good. Travis?
Good.
Good. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, guys.
All right, if there's no other comments, all in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. All right, proposed resolution number 8, amend capital projects accounts, Jamestown Community College. I saw somebody back there.
I know it.
I did say we would be done before 10 o'clock tonight.
Good evening. I'm Kathleen Dennison. I am a consultant to Jamestown Community College for Finance and Administration.
I'm Karen Fuller-Markham, and I'm the Interim Vice President of Finance and Operation at Jamestown Community College.
Thank you. What do you got for us?
And just to let you know a little bit about Karen, Karen's been managing the finances of the college for a lot longer than I have been involved with the finance of the college. She oversees the capital program, but really hasn't been involved in the legislative end of it. So she's here to get introduced to all of you, and we'll be handling a lot of these
Welcome.
resolutions in the future.
We're fairly friendly. Just don't do anything wrong, that's all.
So this resolution before you tonight, we are proposing to increase the budget for one of our capital projects, for the infrastructure project. And we are proposing to take that money from one of our other projects, our roofing project. So this is self-balancing. And we were asked a year ago to create a contingency for capital projects, because you may recall that we had to ask for additional funding when our Learning Common projects went over budget due to asbestos abatement. So I am pleased to report that we actually were able to create that contingency. And we did it kind of in an informal way. Our roofing, one of our roofing projects came in significantly under budget, about $200,000 under budget. And that project was under budget because we did change the scope of it. And instead of doing a complete tear-off and replacement of our roof at the physical education complex, we're just doing essentially a resealing of the roof. So that gave us this $200,000 contingency. And we did not set it up as an official contingency. We didn't move it out of the roofing project and put it in a new project called contingency. We thought it was more efficient just to know internally that we had that money available and then come to you when we knew how we want to use it. So that's what we're here to do tonight, is we would like to use part of that to work on an infrastructure project. And that infrastructure project is to replace 2 generators. These generators power most of all of our IT support. So if the generators fail, we don't have any IT on campus. So that's the reason for the project. And the reason that we need to increase that budget significantly is that the original budget was $386,000. That budget was created almost 2 years ago. We proposed this generator project in May of 2026, but given the time it takes to approve the state budget, we didn't get the approval from the state until last May. We now have the bids for the project, and it is coming in higher than expected due to the timing, but also just modified scope in the project. The original budget, it was based on a site visit of the project, and it was created by our consulting architects, but they didn't do a full-scale bid, and, they were doing an estimate, and it's based on a site visit. We recently got the bids, so we have exact amounts that are needed for this project, but that does necessitate the change in budget.
We spoke of those generators when we were talking about asbestos. I remember them being mentioned as a possible place to.
Yes,
pull some money from.
very, very good memory. Yes, that was a place that we could pull the money from.
I was paying attention.
Yeah,
that day,
absolutely.
that day.
Um,
But you didn't take it from
It's a good
there,
thing
and
that
you're
we
moving-
didn't take it from there, because then we would be even more short. And I won't say, we kind of put off the generator project a little bit until the Learning Commons and the asbestos was finished, because of that, because we thought that we could possibly delay the generator further into 2026. But, so that's why we didn't get the bids immediately after the funds were approved last May. So the asbestos, and the Learning Commons, that's all done. So we know that project is set, and now we want to move forward with the generator, and unfortunately, it's more than we thought.
So sorry, guys, just another question. So this $85,000 now?
That's still the remaining contingency.
So when somebody comes and asks for, and I say, what about the $85,000? Where is that $85,000?
We're proposing to leave it in the roof
Okay.
project, which would be project number 2 with the county. So
Those are continuing, those aren't done? Or they
the
are done?
roofing really is never done.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured, yeah.
So, and, in a way, I would say it's up to you. If you want us to create a new project that's called contingency and put the $85,000 in there, we certainly can do that.
I just want you to have that $85,000 when you need it.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
well, and the good news is.
And I'm not doubting that, I'm just.
Yeah, with the roofing project, we have bids for that also.
Right.
So the original budget for that was it is $550,000. Honestly, if we were to do a complete replacement of that roof, the bid came in at $900,000, so he said, oh, well, that's not gonna work.
Right.
So fortunately, the architects came up with a good solution. So the budget's $550 for the roofing. We've got the bid came in at like $325-ish or so. So our idea is to move 115 out of roofs and into infrastructure, leave essentially the other 85,000, just leave it in roofs.
Right.
And it could be moved to another project if
Sure.
necessary, but roofing, I think, is a good place to leave it, because, see, we're coming to you almost every year asking money for a
Right.
roof, so.
Right.
It-
And I know we've always been able to move money
Yeah,
around in projects, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be at audit and control, so I gotta get all my
Oh,
questions.
okay. No problem. That's good. It's a good first run for us, so.
So you won't get this on Thursday. I won't be
Okay.
there, so enjoy that. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Good,
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming in. We'll see you again. Will we see you again, Kathleen?
It depends on if we need more budget amendments between now and, I have a conference at the end of August, so we'll see.
Okay, all right.
We'll see you on Thursday.
All right.
You won't.
No. Thank you. Okay, number 9, proposed resolution amend 2025 year-end reconciliations, information technology. Oh, good.
Good evening, Sam Zafuto, Deputy Director of Finance, here for the IT Director. John D'Angelo could not be here this evening, but he did send a write-up earlier this week that I do not know if
I was prepared to read it.
All right. Well, I am prepared to answer any questions, especially in the first one. I'll be a little bit more useful than the second resolution, but I have the write-up as well. So what the first resolution is to essentially amend the budget for IT. It's got a couple overages that relate to essentially not meeting the vacancy saving number. And then in addition, it has some overages that relate to workers' compensation and retirement surcharges, but we do self-balance within the IT department. As John noted, we had some less than expected spending on paper, also the same thing with some contracted phone services, and we also had savings and personnel on top of the vacancy in one of his departments, which was a position actually reclassified, I believe, in December. We're moving forward with filling now, but we had that savings all year. So it's a self-balancing, budget-neutral resolution to clean up year-end.
Like it.
Questions, comments, concerns?
Budget neutral.
Budget neutral. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, this is where the questions are coming. Just kidding, Sam. Proposed resolution number 9, amend 20, nope, number 10. Proposed resolution, cyber information sharing and collaboration agreement.
Yep. So again, as John noted, this is agreement between Chautauqua County and the New York State Office of Technology Services. It basically allows us to share operational log data with various state agencies that relate to cybersecurity. As he knows, the state supports many of our networks already, but he did want to make a special note that no personal or financial data would be exchanged through this. There is no cost to the county. This is just something that the IT department essentially needs.
If John thinks it's a good idea, I think it's a good idea.
I agree with that myself.
Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. All right. Number 11, proposed resolution, amend 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, county clerk.
Sam Zafuto, Deputy Director of Finance again.
Greg Carlson, County Clerk.
And I can kind of take the point, since this is finishing up the year, that Greg was not here for on this, but this resolution essentially balances, again, self-balancing within the clerk's organization itself. You have a small increase in equipment at the clerk's office. This relates to a scanner that failed at the end of last year that needed replaced. You have some personnel services and employee benefits that went over at the DMV that relates. We did not meet the vacancy number, and we actually exceeded the personnel services budget by a couple $1,000s due to some different surcharges there. And the same thing with weights and measures. Again, we did not meet the vacancy number in that department, but we are able to self-balance within the clerk's organization. And just also, since I had it, it might be interesting, because I know we had talked revenue during the budget for the clerk's office. Not when we discount the ARPA project that's there, the actual departmental income is $46,000 above the budget for the clerk's office, and the DMV is finishing $49,000 above budget for revenue at the DMV as well.
At the end of 2025.
25.
Good job, Greg.
Well, I did the analysis on that, and really what it is us fully coming out of COVID. So prior to COVID, traditionally, the clerk's office had $200,000 to $300,000 to the good. So we were making more than our budget, and then obviously COVID hit, it went way down. Then after COVID, they had all the money that was pumped into the economy and the record low interest rates where a lot of people, I know I did, refinanced their home, which created a lot of revenue because we had a lot of people doing real estate transactions. And then it started to dip back down with inflation, and now it's normalizing basically. is what's happening. So that's the trend.
I like the trend.
The trend is good. We're gonna keep going with that trend.
You looked good on television the other night, too. So.
Oh, my, I can't watch it. Can't watch him. I look like an ogre. I wish I had young cancer.
I didn't want to get into what you looked like. You just did a good job.
Oh, thanks.
Okay,
My mom watches. She's real proud.
That's important. My wife said, "Who's that guy?" I said, "Hey, no, not really. I'm just kidding."
okay,
Jeez.
All right,
okay.
I'm in charge here. I can do it.
I said, okay.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Number 12. Ooh, the first page is almost done. Amend the 2026 budget for the departments of county clerk and motor vehicles.
So very simply, this is a piggyback off of creating the senior DMV position, which is causing the modest increase to the personnel costs, and we found savings through reduction in employee benefits. That's it.
Keeps you
It's
open.
budget neutral.
Yes.
Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, carried. Thank you, Greg.
Any questions? Everybody have a great night.
Thank you.
You too. What channel are you on tonight?
No chance.
The Olympics. Number 13, proposed resolution amend the 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, county attorney.
Sam Zaffoto again, Deputy Director of Finance.
Good evening. I'm Emily Woodard. As of Thursday, I will be the county attorney, so I'm here on behalf of the county attorney's office.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
We've heard good things too, so.
Thank you.
All right, so this is the resolution to amend year-end for the county attorney's office. There is a little bit more to this than the normal year-end resolution, as there is a transfer from social services. As we prepared the 2026 budget, it was pretty evident that we had some attorneys, essentially through social services in the county law department, that were not working where they were budgeted and being charged. This needed to be corrected. This was something that I had discussed with the commissioner's offices on social service. So basically, I went through, took a look at 4 separate attorneys that were kind of the ones that were in question. 3 of them were budgeted under DSS, but essentially not working under the Department of Social Services. They were either doing contract law or they were assigned to family court, child custody, the old sub-department. So this is the correction. This is transferring the budget for those 3 attorneys that were under DSS. There was the 4th one that went the opposite way, that was under DSS but was charged to law. I worked through the whole correction, submitted it to my counterparts on the social services side for their review, got the approval from the commissioner's office to move forward with the changes that we made, and also we contacted OCFS on the DSS side just to make sure the correction we were making didn't cause any headaches on their end. But this is the final reconciliation of payroll costs. Unfortunately, even with all the transfers, that we do need a transfer of fund balance here of $11,894 to completely come whole. So this is not budget neutral, but this is essentially the payroll cost. And most of the driving costs do come out of the child custody. Family court, that used to be a contracted subdivision that is now essentially under the county attorney's office, is primarily one of the drivers for this.
Good job sorting this all out, Sam.
Yeah, excellent. The wizard. You probably didn't know they call him the wizard.
I didn't, but I've worked with him enough to know.
One guy does, right here.
All right. Any questions, comments, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Anything?
Thank you.
And we will see you again sometime.
See you Thursday.
Yeah.
Not me.
Not me. Number 14, proposed resolution authorized transfer of a tax foreclosure property to Jamestown Urban Renewal Agency, Jura. Pierre, do you want to speak to this? Please?
I will attempt to. I'm
Well, yeah.
Pierre Chagnon, Chairman of the Legislature, unprepared, but I'll.
You need to see.
It came to light that the county had foreclosed on a property, and Jamestown Urban Renewal Agency was interested in getting the property. So it was transferred to them without the approval of the legislature. So this is tying that up and cleaning up that loose end to actually get the approval of the legislature to transfer the property to Jura. How'd I do, Bob?
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Pretty straightforward, so there you go. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Pierre. All right, number 15, amend the 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, mental health, or M Health Insurance Fund. Sorry.
Good evening. Kitty Lyons, Director of Finance. The M Fund is the fund where we aggregate all of our costs associated with our health insurance plan for employees and retirees. The increase in appropriation is mainly due to retiree claims running higher than expected. And then we did have some other miscellaneous items that trended higher than what was originally budgeted. This is being offset by judgments and claims, which are the charges back to county departments. Overall, the total expenses for this fund, which is a budget of about $26.4 million, we are coming in about $357,000 under the expense budget. So like really right on our budget for 2025. So that was good news. Overall, the net, considering all revenues, we have a slight surplus of about $101,000.
Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Number 16, proposed resolution amend 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, Department of Finance and Miscellaneous Department.
Okay, a lot of adjustments here. I'll try to go through them as best I can, but feel free to ask questions when I'm done. The .1 account in the main finance department, 1310, our personal services account exceeded the budget by roughly $70,000. As you probably remember from the budget, we included a vacancy savings variable in county departments. So taking that away, we were under budget $30,000. So part of our variance is due to not meeting in full the vacancy savings that were budgeted. Additionally, there was one position where I had budgeted, I budgeted as an allocation to the mental hygiene department for supporting their office when it was really one just for our general finance department. So that also contributed to part of the variance. That was corrected in the 2026 budget. The contractual expenses, there's a variety of costs there. Some were over and some under. One main contributor was that the NISAC dues for 2025 were higher in 2025 than normal due to their 100th year conference fees were just higher than was planned in the budget. Employee benefits, similar to the .1s because they're tied to them. We, aside from vacancy savings, we would have been $4,000 under budget. So primarily we did not meet the vacancy savings target. 1330, that's real property tax office. The contractual there is over $129,000. 84,000 of that is due to additional legal costs this year, and about $87,000 due to additional software improvements that were needed. The 1330 roll .1 account, that's what gets allocated to that account for services to to do other municipalities' tax rolls for them, so that was slightly over. The .4s in 1362, the tax advertising expense was over slightly. And then the next three line items, the 1430 COEM, this is where we budget for the cost of the CSEA union president. Those .1 and 8 expenses were slightly over. And then lastly, increase appropriations for 1989. This was for the Insurance Administration Office, so that's the casualty and liability and workers' comp expenses. And again, there, we did not meet the vacancy savings target. There's only 2 employees in that office, but their costs are all offset by charges back to departments for the liability insurance program. So offsets to the above include a surplus in the equipment budget, and the real property tax department did have beyond their budgeted vacancy savings, they had additional savings there. We've had trouble keeping those positions filled and some turnover, but we are fully staffed right now. And then some contractual underruns in the the expenses for running tax rolls for other municipalities, as well as some employee benefits in that account. The tax assessment account, we didn't have any costs there this year, and insurance administration, .4 and .8s had some slight underruns that were offsetting their .1s. We had some additional revenues over surplus. Some of our credit card rebates were about $6,500 more than budgeted. We had some FEMA revenue that came in for the administrative work that actually the former budget director, Kathleen, and her office did for managing the FEMA claim for the COVID years. So we got that revenue in, $18,000. And the casualty and liability offset is the charge, ultimately it's the charges back to departments. Overall, though, I was not able to, probably for the first time, adjust within all of our accounts, and therefore a $94,000 of fund balance to balance out the accounts as proposed in the resolution.
I could say I'm thankful for the fund balance, but I probably shouldn't say that, so I won't say that. Questions, comments, other than what I had to say? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Number 16, number 17, look at how quick we're moving here. Amend 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, unified courts.
Hi. Jen Swan, Budget Director. So what you have before you are a small number of overages in our unified courts departments. So the first, let me see, 4 of them, the Supreme Court, Family Court, Surrogate Court, and Court Library, are due to insurance. The insurance payments for the year totaled more than what we had estimated for the budget. So that caused those overages. And then the last one that you see, justices and constables, these are quarterly felony fees that we pay out. And that's based on an estimate every year. It's not a set number, so obviously we ended up having to pay out slightly more than what we had anticipated. We are able to self-balance with excess revenue. The total excess revenue came in at about $58,000, so we're going to use $6,784 of that to offset those overages.
All right. Questions, comments, concerns, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 18, amend 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, the energy fund.
Kitty, excuse me, Kitty Lyons, Director of Finance. There was an error that I made in calculating the interest, expense for this fund. It is, the calculation is based on an accrual, but I used the wrong 2 years. So, that resulted in, the increase in appropriations that's needed. It's offset though by additional interest earnings that were generated this year and allocated to the Energy Plant Fund.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 19, amend the 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, CS Liability Insurance Fund.
The CS fund, as a reminder, is where we have all of our liability-related premiums that are paid and other, like property loss claims, and allocated it back out to county departments based on various methodologies. Our judgments and claims were over slightly, and then we had some property loss claims, mainly for the airport, that exceeded what we had in the budget. And those increases are offset by participant assessments. Overall, the CS fund did have positive results of about $58,000 net.
So that 101,000 property loss, that's mainly the airport?
A bulk of it. We also had other accruals, you know, and insurance recoveries that were booked as well. I had used the participant assessment account because we had the largest surplus there to balance out the accounts, but we did have corresponding insurance recoveries for those airport expenses.
Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Let's see, we'll take a half-hour break now, just kidding, just kidding. Proposed resolution number 20, amend 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, human resources. Is it B-E-N-E? Or is it Benny, or health insurance benefits?
Sam Zafuto, Deputy Director of Finance.
Debbie Mikowski, Director of Human Resources.
Yep, and this is a simple, this is a sub-department that has only 2 employees in it, so this is a situation where the vacancy saving being in this, we were unable to meet it, so this is a self-balancing within the department resolution to balance the accounts, but within the smaller departments, it is harder when there's only 2 people and they were here. But this is self-balancing.
How could we vote against that? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, carried.
Thank you. Did you intend not to sign that?
Number 21, standard workday and reporting resolution.
Debbie Mikowski, Director of Human Resources. So this proposed resolution is to set the work days that get reported to New York State local retirement system for the individuals listed below. It's a reoccurring process, authorizes the information to be reported to NICELRS for various employees who do not use a time clock. You will see of the list below, we are essentially updating the current term, begin and end dates.
Perfect. Questions?
I know we've talked about it. How often do people have to do these?
To do the
Do the
record of
reporting
activities?
process, yes.
Record of activities is good for 8 years. However, if something substantial changes, we can go through that process at any point and then
Just restart it.
update, yes, correct.
8 years. I've done it 3 times. Don't stay too long, because you gotta do it.
Switch offices and you'll do it twice.
As long as we don't have to take any more. Anyhow,
Don't say it, don't say
No.
it.
Those HR classes that are due soon?
They're coming again.
we're getting more? Oh, good. I look forward to it. I want to be the first one done. Okay, yeah, all in favor? Did we do that? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Proposed resolution setting the salary for the certified peer specialist.
Hello, Deputy Director Trish McLennan with Department of Mental Hygiene and Social Services. And this, honestly, I've told some others, this is one of the most exciting things that I have brought here and done in collaboration with our Department of Human Resources. The peer positions you all approved in our budget for this calendar year. We currently have been contracting with peers for a number of years, as do many other agencies. Over the last 5 to 7 years, New York State, along with other states, have recognized peers as professional health care providers. So what I'm coming here for is actually request to set the salary at the same pay grade that the job title in our Department of Senior Caseworker. Senior Caseworker is simply the other side of a coin for the peers. Senior caseworkers provide care coordination. They're the ones that determine what services are going to be had. The peers on the flip side are the ones who ensure that there's engagement, that they get there, that they are able to use their skill set, use their lived experience to help those people actually achieve those services. These are billable services. That's an important piece, meaning that we can bill Medicaid, so they are, for the most part, revenue producing and able to offset their salary. I don't know how much you want me to go into this, but they also are certified. One of the questions that folks would have is, what's the difference in educational requirement from a senior caseworker to a certified peer? Senior caseworker either has to have a bachelor's degree or they have to have associate's degree with 2 years of experience. Does a peer? No. So why would I propose the same pay grade? What a peer has to have is actually quite a bit. They have to go through 13 core modules with New York State. They have to get fully certified and have 2,000 hours of paid experience in a setting. And they also have to take ethical conduct, and they have to have ongoing 20 hours of continuing education every 2 years to maintain the credential. An associate's degree or a bachelor's degree does not. It's a one and done. So when you really look at the two, they do end up, even in education and experience and certification, end up being the same. So welcome to, ask questions if you have any, if you have concerns about this, but the proposal is to set it at a grade 17.
You said this is budgeted for 26 already?
Absolutely, yes, thank you.
These are existing employees?
These are, well.
Or, I mean,
have
do
to
we
be
have
careful
vacancies here?
We will, yes, we will have vacancies here. We contract peers, so we are anticipating most, if not all, will end up applying for these positions.
Okay,
So
okay,
yes,
I see.
if that
Yep.
helps, okay.
Bing. It's been a long night.
No, I get it, it's been a
No,
long. I appreciate you not taking a 30-minute break earlier.
I was gonna reduce it to 15. All right. The advantage of coming at the end is the questions. No.
I like that. I'm okay, now I know the advantage finally, because
No,
I'm
I
always
like
at the
that.
end.
You did a good job of explaining the differences between the two positions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Anything? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, carries.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll take the half-hour break.
I appreciate you just approving this, thank you.
Now we'll be back in 25 minutes. All right, proposed resolution reallocating the salary grade for the crime scene analyst.
So this is reallocation of the crime scene analyst. We do have the crime scene analyst in our budget for 2026. but after discussing the position with our collective bargaining unit, DSAC, they desired, because this position previously had been a sworn officer, now it will be a civilian, and they wanted to have a reallocation to decrease it by 2 grades. And this individual will have advanced degree, but he will not be a sworn officer.
What's the reason for that? Is it
It's
to not take an officer and fill the position?
Yes, we don't want to take an officer off the road.
Right.
And the having somebody come from a advanced degree or, college degree, he's got some of that training already, and or the person would have his training already. And if we take somebody off the road, we're going to have to send them the training, additional training anyways. But we're already having difficult enough time to find patrol officers.
Sure.
So we're looking to fill this position with civilian.
Okay.
It's been vacant for probably about 7 years that I can speak of for sure.
Do we have candidates for it, or is it just
We
being
do have
advertised?
one candidate, but we still have to post it, and we have a candidate now. Whether that candidate still wants the position, I can't
Right.
tell you that for
Right.
sure.
Gotcha. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thanks. Thanks, Deb. All right. Number 24, amend the 2025 budget for year-end reconciliations, legislature.
All right, Sam Zafuto, Deputy Director of Finance.
Olivia Lee, Clerk of the Legislature.
All right, so this is a resolution to balance the accounts for the clerk and the legislative board. We did have some spots where we did exceed our appropriations in the legislative board. One would be contractual. That essentially was driven by the mileage. It was a little bit more mileage than we had seen in previous years. The benefits, which was driven by retirement cost adjustment at year end. And then there's a small increase in personal services. Now, this is not related to vacancy. There were a couple of errors I did not catch in the summer of 2024. Some of the rates of you were slightly off. That is the reason that this part happened, but we are correcting this with a self-balance. We did have some savings in personnel services in the clerk of legislative board and also contractual expenses, so it is self-balancing. But that is essentially the errors. Retirement surcharges, there was some errors with the personnel services only in this sub-department and some mileage that went over.
And Olivia does a wonderful job of balancing our budgets.
She does.
It's budget neutral.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, let's go home.
Yeah, there was one other thing on the agenda.
Yeah, okay, we have discussion. Is
Well,
that what you're here for?
Yes, I will be brief because we will be
Let me read
discussing
it.
this
Let me
again
read
next.
it. 2025, assigned council year-end presented by Sam. How do you pronounce your last name? That's easy. Zafuto, yeah. Deputy Director of Finance.
This is just to bring to your attention, there is one department in the county that we are not done with fiscal year 25. That is the Conflict Administration Assigned Counsel. This is your vouchers for conflict, family court, criminal court. We are going over budget on the voucher side. This is the first year with the new rate that we're paying of the $158 per hour, that this is the first real full year. And this is the first time we've actually separated this into a sub-department. So at this point in time, we budgeted $950,000. We are gonna finish closer to 1.2 million essentially with costs, depending, there are some vouchers I'm still questioning. We also were gonna have a small surplus of revenue.
70,000. About 70,000.
Yep.
I first hit 700,000.
Yeah, no.
Maybe it's okay.
And then we will also have a surplus as we're working on a claim for this, that for the rate increase as well. So we're working on some final numbers, but just to bring the concern that essentially this is not gonna be a budget neutral resolution. It's gonna be a use of fund balance of at least $100,000, I would say at this point, maybe a little bit more, depending on some questions I have to our administrator on some larger vouchers. But we've seen an uptick. This is the first full year with, basically, we're not seeing any of the older $75 rate that we saw last year, because these take a couple years. Normally with case finishes, we see the voucher. Now we're seeing all 158. We've seen some now that actually have gone a couple years with felonies that are actually above the statute of 10,000, that they can apply and get a waiver to have us pay higher than that. So we have actually one that's at 60,000 for a voucher for one county resident. But there were 7 charges that went to trial. So there is a lot going on here, but we'll have a further in-depth discussion with a resolution next month as well, too.
You said 25 was the first that we've had the 158.
Well, the 158 became effective April 1st, 2023. However, the way these vouchers, you have to finish the case, so really, this is the first year where we're seeing all just 158. We're not seeing the older rate. Well, we'll be discussing this again next month, because we will be bringing a resolution. But this is the one department we're still using the 2025 GL date, essentially, to process batches. And
Gotcha.
And this is typical, it does happen, they do continue to roll in well into March every year. So this is not an abnormal thing.
no, it's even the attorneys, when they call, they actually sometimes apologize, but they can't until the judge signs and says, hey, you can submit it, which is when essentially the case is completed, that they can vouch for us. So that some of them we get will have 2.5 years worth of work for an attorney on it.
Do we pay the old rate for what
Yeah,
was
yeah, if it's
old
back
and
in,
the new
yep,
rate?
up until that date, we pay the older rate, and then the new rate gets paid as of.
Nothing's retroactive. Okay, good.
And we've gone back and we've collected every penny through the rate increase, back to that date as well.
Gotcha, okay. All right, very good, thank you.
I will bring a resolution for this next month.
Thanks for the warning. All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Don't talk to me.
I'm not talking like that, I just mean.
So,